There's no doubt about it that whatever we take in becomes a part of who we are, right? It's not so much the action that was committed or done or inaction, but it's how we interpret our perspective, our thoughts, our internalization that gets programmed throughout our nervous system. And as you know, our nervous system is a collection of nerves that senses information and also gives that information to our brain and also permeates or goes through or affects in some way every aspect of our bodies. And we wonder then about chronic health conditions, about rare conditions. I believe rare conditions are individual responses to our experiences that mentally, emotional perspective that we have about our experiences expresses through our physical being and signs and symptoms, headaches, nausea, indigestion, problems digesting our life experiences, problems seeing things as they are, problems with acceptance plays a part in our physical expression. And it is easy to internalize our experiences. It's easy to believe that what you did was because of me, or I am the one at fault for what happened. I mean, we're talking about Child Prevention Month, Child Abuse Prevention Month, during the month of April. And I've been discussing on my podcast, Remember Who You Are. And one of the things that I am very grateful for, that I encourage, it's something that I've expressed as a nurse and taking care of clients and educating people about their health experiences, and people dealing with diabetes, and how to better understand why their sugars go up, why it go down, what foods affect them, why is exercise doing that, is to become a student of their health, because you're with yourself 24/7. I encourage people to become a detective. Write down, see what's going on, accept what's happening with your body, because often denial feeds into that internalization, that anger, that fear. It feeds into it. It holds it inside instead of letting things go. And I don't know, your experiences, but I know what I do know is that on some level we all experience some form of betrayal, confusion, slander, when we want to believe and hope for the best in people, and we end up frustrated. We end up feeling um, rejected. We end up feeling, like a victim. People are against me. They have done negative things to me. Why me? All these questions that can feed the anger, the guilt, the shame, the resentment, the doubt. And it was while I was a little girl, shortly after my experience or my walk in the wilderness and out of it, I realized, and walking alongside my mother's front yard where she had all these flowers, and when I thought about it, this became my sanctuary, for really thinking things through, um, and analyzing experiences and really developing a perspective that will help me instead of hurt me. And it was one day when I was walking alongside the front yard, And I thought about how mean the word mistakes was, how condemning, how negative it was. And it was then in that moment that I switched the word from using mistakes to life lessons. And that was the birth of principles. If you've been listening to my podcast or reading my blogs, I became really big on principles. My mother is the one that really helped to set that foundation, and reading the Bible, of course, at a young age. But I also said, so number one, life lessons, instead of mistakes. I wanted a more positive connotation to life, right? And then I said, I want to learn from my experiences and learn from others, right? And it's not about learning what brings pain, but adopting those behaviors that are positive. I came up with the thought that I will take the good and leave the rest, right? I will take what I want to have along this earthly journey, and the rest of the stuff I can leave with you. And that continued to evolve to when people said things, I've talked about this, your thoughts. When people said things and that I felt was negative or some way of labeling me, I would say that is yours. Whether I said it out loud or whether I said it mentally, and it was to whoever, even my mother, my father, aunts and uncles, that if I felt like I did not want to keep that, I would give it back to them, right? Mentally, or just that's yours. I would not let that penetrate me, because I know that, and you probably know, when we have labeled ourselves, we're wearing this tag that says this is who I am. And that what happens? We end up being that label or that tag. And I saw that as a younger age, as I've expressed, where it was a family member and they were saying really negative things, hurtful things about her. And I could literally see her tears flowing underneath this mask that she eventually put on herself. Right? They had it, they had it, they presented it with her, and she eventually put it on her face. And I believe that's what often happens, with experiences, that we end up labeling, we end up taking that label, whether others have given it to us or that we have put it on ourselves, developed it ourselves, and we wear it. And throughout life, we're just kind of walking around doing things according to this label instead of being true to ourselves. Eventually, life lessons and learning from others, that same day, ended up being in no regrets. A student of life doesn't see more of problems or doesn't see um, things to hurt them, but it sees things that I can learn from that. I can learn from that. And even the worst of experiences, I can learn from that. I can learn how not to treat someone. I can learn that someday when I have children, I'm going to make sure that I'm spending quality time with them, that I am listening to them, that they feel comfortable talking to me, that I ask them questions, that I pay attention, observe their behaviors. That as a student, we want to make things better for others instead of worse, that we recognize our emotions and our feelings, and we say, yeah, I don't want anybody else to go through this. So often we put ourselves out there, sacrifice, because we say, you know what? This is what I took from this experience, and I'm going to make it better for you. I'm going to stand up for you. I'm going to advocate for you. Even if I'm shaking in my boots, I'm going to advocate for you. Because when I advocate for you, I confirm the type of person that I want to be. A student spends less time in regret and more time in conviction. of doing what is necessary to help others have a better quality of life. A student of life is more determined, is more alert, more compassionate, more forgiving. Because as a student, I realized that the pain they projected on me is what they were carrying in themselves. There's a Bible verse that says, out of the heart flows the issues of life. And instead of the anger, I had compassion for those that projected their pain on me because I said, man, that must be a horrible place. What happened to you that caused you to be the way you are and to feel there's no other way but to project your pain on others? And so it taught me who not to be and who I wanted to be. And that's what we need to continue to feed is who do I want to be? Because a student knows that you cannot take back the experience, but you can learn, you can pull the treasures out of this. And you can ask me, is there, this happened. How can I find good in it? And I've said it. One thing is to try your best to make sure it doesn't happen to someone else. What can you do? What can you share with them? What can you tell them that their body is their body, that they have a right to say no, to speak for themselves, to maybe avoid certain situations, to make sure they have a clear mind. There is something in every experience that we can take to the next experience. That every experience builds on the next one. A student knows that, just like every class builds on the next one. Somehow, some way, you are going to utilize those key principles, not the ones that can hurt you and keep you deterred down a different path, but ones that will edify, will build you up. Because when you think about it, we are made in the image, we are a reflection of this power that created earth and all things. So within us is the ability to create something wonderful, even from something that hurts so much, something that was not edifying you, that was not building you up. We have the power within us to mentally shape our experiences for the greater good. Why should we? Is there really another way? Do we want to continue the cycle of pain? Labeling others just keeps them in that predicament. Often it keeps them there. Shaming others keeps them in that predicament. And remember, whatever seeds we sow, we first sow within ourselves. That I can't never be as bad as that person that did something to me. You can't? How do you really know that? How do you really know unless you have walked in their shoes? This is not meant to be confusing, but to do an honest evaluation, an honest look at ourselves. That how do we know we would not have ended like that person or done something like that person? How do we know? There are no guarantees, but we end up being grateful for having that insight, for having that compassion, for having that empathy for our pain, because our pain helped to direct us into giving more, into changing those thoughts, into representing the truth, into calling for something greater than ourselves to help us along the way. A student of life is an opportunity to put our life experiences in a healthy perspective. It is an opportunity to raise children who will honor and respect life. It is an opportunity to share those life sustaining principles, to give from the heart, to move forward, to create the legacy that you want to create. All the things that my mother, what I extrapolated from her experiences, those principles to help ground me, that I've shared with you, to help ground you into the person that you were created to be. A student of life sees no failure. A student of life sees opportunities. A student of life knows that he, she can master their emotions and feelings. A student of life knows that thoughts are very pivotal to what you experience and what you will continue to experience. A student of life seeks knowledge, seeks wisdom, seeks truth. A student of life forgives because they know unforgiveness, anger is brittle to the bones. A student of life preserves her body, her internal dwelling, because a student of life realizes that their lives have meaning and purpose. A student of life needs not to be shameful or doubt or regret. A student of life becomes what he or she didn't have. This life is an earthly journey to evolve to the highest version of yourself. Yes, we will experience things. We have examples of that. We will experience it. We are no different from any other human being. We have the ability, though, to perceive. We have the ability to master, dominate our thoughts and feelings, to stand still when storms come. Will you be a student of life? When we think about April, it's more than just child abuse. Every day, we may have experiences that challenge who we are, that people want to sow seeds to label us, to define us. We have instances where we doubt ourselves, where we wonder, what is this life really about? Who am I? Am I what they did? Am I less valuable because he or she didn't act accordingly or how I wanted them to act? Nothing in this world defines you. You already came defined as a divine spirit, energy that is more powerful than we ever can imagine. And it's about tapping into that power as a student, those gifts and those talents that we come to express truth, to express infinite intelligence, whatever you may call it, the power that keeps the earth rotating, that keeps the earth in its position, the planets, that knows when rain needs to come and when sun and winter and the seasons and the flowers, the plants, that answers your prayers, that seeks a relationship with you. You have the power to become a student of life. You have the power to evolve to the highest version of yourself. And much of that stands on, what do you believe? What do you believe about yourself? Who do you believe you are? Because out of that is often how we act. This is Tamika Chambers with Create a Generational Love Cycle. I have been doing a series on remembering who you are, that you are more than your experiences, and sharing what I learned as a child and how I've used many of those concepts and principles to give me the perspective that sustains me. Even in the midst of storms, we can stand still. We can embrace our experiences and we can learn from them and we can grow and we can share information that we need to share. We can pass it on and create this generational love cycle that doesn't hold back, but gives and expects nothing in return. I am on Fulfill Your Divine Purpose Facebook, where I share um, just those things that often distract us from living, not just fulfilling our purpose, but also to enjoying the fruits of our labor. There are too many early deaths. There are too many people that are leaving this world brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But often, what stands in the way is our those childhood traumas, those perceptions of life events. And if we can change our perception, we can change the quality of our lives and the message that we give of hope, of compassion, of forgiveness, of truth. Thank you so much for listening. Today is Friday, and I hope that you are having a blessed Friday and to go into this weekend. And I hope that you get the rest that you need to start your week over and really think about your week and think about those things that you're holding on to. And do they deserve your energy? Do they deserve your time? Do they deserve your money? And I hope that you'll find out that anything that lures you to something that you're not does not deserve your energy, time, and money. This is Tamika Chambers with Create a Generational Love Cycle. As always, make this lifetime great because you still can.